Hi everyone, I'm going to do my best making this video tonight for you guys for tomorrow. I should be back Wednesday, so that's good. So yesterday you guys learned the arithmetic sequence, and I tried to point things out in the notes, but basically, an arithmetic sequence is just think of it as a pattern of adding the same number every time, whether it's adding a positive number or adding a negative number every time. So in example 2, for the warm-up, it says to find the 23rd term. Remember that this is the nth term that you're looking for. Okay, and the first thing you have to do is find the pattern. So notice that we are adding a -3 every time, so D equals -3. Okay. So then we would say a sub n, this is the first term, and then n minus 1 times -3. Okay, and then we are finding the 23rd term, and then from here you just do the math and you should get 55. Okay, and I know I wrote it on the notes yesterday, but just in case you didn't see it, this arithmetic sequence is the first formula you need to memorize. Alright, let's go to example number 1. We're finding the nth term. So they gave you, the problem gives you the first term, and they give you D, and it wants to find the 8th term and the general term. So a sub n equals -8 plus n minus 1 times 7. Okay, and then if you clean this up a little bit, you get 7n minus 15. So that is our general term. That's a sub n. And then we can use that formula as long as you trust your math, or you can go back to this original part here to find the 8th term. So you should get the 8th term to be 41. Okay. Just little things here. Make sure that you guys follow the order of operations when doing this. So, do the parentheses first, and then multiply, and then add that very first term. All right, let's go to the next page. Okay, and today instead what you're going to be doing is you're going to be given different situations that you have to find a certain term in the sequence or the general rule for the sequence. Alright, so the problem asks us to find the first term in the arithmetic sequence. It's always good to label the information that you have and the information that you're trying to find. So A1 is what we're trying to find. And then it says the 44th term is 229. So then this right here is n. That does not look like an n, sorry. N equals 44. And then the 44th term equals 229. And then we also have D, which is 8. Okay, so we're going to use our formula, which remember that our formula is a sub n and then a1 plus n minus 1 times d. So this is going to represent the 44th term. So 229 equals a1, which is what we're missing, plus n, which we have, that's 44, minus 1 times 8. Okay, so just to go over that again, We were given the 44th term, and the 44th term was 229. So that's what goes in for a sub n. We're missing a 1. N is 44, because once again we have the 44th term. And then the common difference is 8. And then you just do some math from there. And you should get 229 equals A1 plus 344. And then A1 would equal negative 115. Sometimes it's hard to see if these problems, quote unquote, make sense. But if the common difference is 8, that means that each term should be getting larger than the previous term. So that means our first term should be pretty significantly less than the 44th term, which it is. All right, next example. It says one term of an arithmetic sequence is a sub 19 equals 48 and d equals 3. Write a general rule for the nth term. So this is what we're trying to find. This is our end result, a sub n. We were given this term, which means that n equals 19, a sub 19 equals 48, and d equals 3. Okay, so if we go back up into our formula up here, we're trying to find a sub n, so that means that we need to have pieces of information for all these other parts. Well, we have n is 19, we have d, and then we have that the 19th term is 48, but what we're missing to even start this problem is a 1. So that's what we have to do first. Okay, so we're going to do the same exact thing we did in example 3 and do that in example 4. And we should get a sub 1 to equal negative 6. Now it's crucial in these problems for you guys to make sure you pay attention to what the problem is asking. So in our scenario, the problem was asking for a general rule. This is just a 1. That's not the general rule, so we're not done with the problem. Remember that the general rule will have a sub n and n in the answer. I'll say that again. If you're asked to write a general rule, a sub n and the letter n will be in your answer. So a sub n equals a1 plus n minus 1 times d. All right. In number 5, notice that we are once again finding a general rule. So we're going to do this last step again. So when working with arithmetic sequences, you can kind of treat this almost like d is the slope when you're given two separate terms. So we were given the 8th term here. We were given the 27th term. So d is going to be 97 minus 21 all over 27 minus 8. So think of these as like the y's, and then these are the x's. Okay, and you should get d to equal 4. Okay, so it's going to be a 3-step problem now, because now we still don't know what a1 is to write the general term. So we have to go back and do what we did in the previous example down here again. And it doesn't matter which term you use. I can use the 8th term or the 27th term. Just don't mix them up. So keep these separate. So 21 equals A1 plus 8 minus 1 times 4. So you should get A1 to equal -7. Then you can write your general term. So A sub n equals -7 plus n minus 1 times d. So important note is that to write your general term, you always need the first term and the common difference, which is d. All right, I'm probably only going to do one example in this section just because it's getting harder to talk, but basically, arithmetic means are the terms between any two non-consecutive terms of an arithmetic sequence. So basically, it's the number of terms between the given. Okay, so for example, in number 2, we'll do this one since it's kind of right in the middle of the other examples. You're given -2 and 25, and you're told that there's 2 arithmetic means. So what that means is there's 2 numbers between -2 and 25. So in number 1, one arithmetic mean would mean there's one number between 4 and 10. 3 arithmetic means that there are three numbers between 10 and 90. So if you look at number 2, the way I always have students set this up is with 2 arithmetic means that there's going to be 4 numbers. And we already know the first two, it's -2, or sorry, the first and the last one, so -2 and 25. Okay, and some of you are going to be able to figure this out just using common math, but just in case, we can use our formula. So this would be our last term, so 25 equals, this is our first term, so -2 plus the number of terms is 4, that's how many lines we made, and then find d. So 27 equals 3d, so d equals 9. So then you just add 9 each time. And make sure this makes sense. So like, if add 9 works here and added 9 worked here, but adding 9 didn't work here, then you made a mistake somewhere. It has to hold true, because remember that an arithmetic sequence is the same number being added every time. Okay, so just real quick, in number 3, sorry, I don't know why it does that sometimes. In number 3, you would set up 5 lines. And you would have 10 and 90. Okay, and like I said, some of you are going to be able to figure this out in your head and just know that the difference is going to be 20 for each one. So that's 30, 50, 70. Okay, if you didn't know that, then use the formula. All right, sorry, I know this wasn't lovely, but hopefully it was better than just copying notes down. And like I said, hope to be back tomorrow. Homework's going to be worksheet 3, which you guys should already have. All right, thanks.